Okay, folks, sorry about that. Had a little bit of a glitch there. Um, my phone ran out of memory. I had to delete some files so I could finish up here with some last thoughts. So continuing with section, I don't know the section number anymore. Continuing with section 8.5 of geometry and picking up where I left off, we were saying, what if this happens to be, what was it, 35 degrees. This ends up being, of course, 55. And I don't remember what my numbers were because I just deleted everything. I do not remember. Oh, I know. This was this was the x and this was a 10. Yes, again, we could use the tangent of 35 equals 10 over x. But for some folks, having the denominator, the variable in the denominator is a bit of a pain. You would have to multiply by x and then divide by the tangent of 35 that you look up on page 311. But the slightly easier way here is, if that's 35, we know that's got to be 55. So use this angle instead. If we use that angle instead, we get tangent of 55 equals its opposite over its adjacent. Forget the 35, we don't need it. Tangent of 55 equals x over 10. Now we look up the tangent of 55, and I closed my book when I thought we were done. We look up the tangent of 55. Very disconcerting when you finish something and then look at your camera and discover it died. The tangent of 55 in the second column of the blue, we find out it's 1.4281. 1.4281 equals x over 10. Now all we have to do is multiply by 10. We get about 14.281 equals x, but we're rounding to the nearest tenth, so that 8 says bump the 2 up. We get 14.3 is approximately equal to x, and we are done. Guess what we would have gotten if we had stuck with the 35-degree angle and did opposite over adjacent, which would be 10 over x, and then we multiply by, it wouldn't be this anymore, we then multiply by the x and divide by the tangent of 35, guess what we get? Same thing. So it is your choice. Okay, last little detail here. What happens, on the other hand, if we know the sides? Let's use an old friend of ours. Let's use 3, 4, and 5. And suppose this time we're looking for the measure of the angle. What in the world do we do then? Well, you can't do it. Yes, we can. We look at our angle here, and we ask ourselves, what is this? This becomes the opposite. What is this? This became the adjacent. Well, we know that the tangent of my unknown angle x, the tangent of my unknown x must be its opposite over its adjacent. That's 3 over 4. That's 3 over 4. So the tangent of my unknown angle is its opposite over its adjacent. That 5 has nothing to do with this particular question. So we have tangent of x. Now we convert this to a decimal. 3/4. You can either go to the calculator. Now you don't have to go to the calculator for 3/4. But if the fraction were uglier, you would do 3 divided by 4, click, and get your result. This turns out to be 0.75, and kind of nice to have 4 decimal places, although we don't really need them. And so now we know the tangent of my mystery angle is 0.7500. Does that mean that 0.7500 is my angle measure? No. This is not 3/4 of 1 degree. That's silly. No. This is the tangent of my mystery angle. It's like somebody gave me the answer to the tangent of some angle. Oh. So we just go to page 311 and we do what I call we read the table backwards. We start with an answer of 0.7500 and find out what angle would make the tangent of that angle 0.7500. What am I talking about? We go to page 311. By the way, there is a key on your calculator that will do this for you, but we're not going to examine that right now. We go here, and in the tangent column, either here or here, I find the closest answer I can get to 0.7500. It's not going to be exact. I want the closest thing I can find to 0.7500. Well, these guys are all way too small. If you can't see the page very well, then just go to your own book. And, oh, look down here. Down, get my finger in view there. Here, I see 0.7002, too small. 0.7265, too small. 0.7536, a little bit too big. So we ask ourselves, which one is closer? 0.7265 or 0.7536? Ooh, it's really close. This one is 0.0035 away. This is 0.0036 away. Boy, that's close. So we're going to give it an answer of, we're going to say it's this one. We just picked the one that's closest. Oh, you lost my finger there, sorry. This one is very close. This one is close. This one is closer by a tiny bit. So I read over here and see what was the angle, and I see 36 degrees. So my answer to this would be that x is approximately 36 degrees. That's really a gross approximation. It's going to actually be 36 point something, 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 something. But we just call it 36 degrees. It is an approximation. And the book is going to be telling you to just express all of your angle measures to the nearest integer, the nearest whole number. So we leave it at 36 degrees. Yes, if you know how to do that on your calculator, if you know how to reverse the process on your calculator, yes, there's a key for that. I'll show it to you eventually. If you use your calculator, it's going to give you a gazillion decimal places. It'll give you 36 point something, something, something. I'm curious. It should be close to 36 and a half, I think. Let's see if I can get this this calculator only works when there's good sunlight on it. The battery died, or good overhead lights. Okay, I'm going to put in the inverse tangent, we call it. That's the shift tangent of 0.75, and we get an error. What did I do wrong? I want the inverse tangent of 0.75. It shouldn't give me an error. There we go. And I get 36.87. So this tells me it's about 30, closer to 37. So I must have, my mental arithmetic when I was looking at the book was off by a little bit. And you were probably saying, Mr. Beer, you didn't get that right. Okay, yeah, calculator says it should have been closer to 37. My mistake. Okay, so that's what I call reading the table backwards. You now have everything you need to be able to handle the assignment. What shall the assignment be? The assignment shall be on page 308. Page 308. Numbers 1 through 12. Yep, that's it. 1 through 12. Yes, and that includes the last 1, 2, 3. Oh, a bunch of these. The last 6 of these are where they give you the sides, and you've got to figure out the angle measures. Follow the rules, you'll be fine. In some of these, they give you the hypotenuse. What do you do with the hypotenuse? You ignore the hypotenuse. You're only working with the opposite and the adjacent. They will give you the hypotenuses in some of these. Just ignore them. And, yep, that's it. So 1 through 12 on page 308. You'll be using page 311 or your calculator to do the arithmetic. You'll need the calculator. And there was one other thing that zapped through my mind. What was it? Some of you are not putting in your subject line the word geometry. Please start your subject line with the word geometry so I can quickly sort through my emails I get too many of them to be having to slow down and figure out what subject is being sent to me. There was something else on my mind, I just cannot remember what it was. 1 through 12, all page, oh yes. All of your steps must be shown. You have to show me, for instance, tangent of whatever the angle is, 30 degrees equals something over 15. Then you have to write in what is the tangent of 30, whatever that is, some decimal number, and then you multiply and find out that x is whatever, and you have to show me all the steps. You don't have to show me the arithmetic because you're doing that on the calculator, but I must see these steps. The odd numbered answers are in the back of the book. You can check yourself. But when I look at your papers, the steps you show me had better match up with your final answer. You must show me your work. You must show me the steps. Okay? And I expect you to check your odd numbered answers in the back so you can be sure you're doing the right thing. All right, that's it. We're done now, finally, for real. And see you next time.